Are you a reporter?
Yes.
Well, you look like George W. Bush.
I'm not. I just look like him.
Normally I don't give interviews unless it's with your typical liberal reporter who knows nothing about economics.
President Obama, I'd like to start the interview.
I'd prefer you work at ABC.
Why?
Because former Senate Majority Leader George Mitchell is chairman of the board of ABC News. He also doubles as my special envoy.
Well, I don't work at ABC.
Do you work at MSNBC?
No.
I like MSNBC because they are essentially a propaganda arm of my administration. They like bailouts. Their parent company GE got a bailout from the Federal Reserve and the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation to back their risky derivatives.
No, I don't work for MSNBC.
Do you work for the Huffington Post?
No.
Well, I like the Huffington Post. David Axelrod's son works there. The Obama regime always gets a fair shake from the Huffington Post.
I said I don't work at the Huffington Post. I'm just an independent reporter.
All right, let's start the interview.
You want to raise taxes on those who make over $250,000?
Yes.
What's preventing you and your wealthy friends from paying more in taxes?
Nothing really, but still I want rich people to pay more in taxes.
Do you realize with your tax increases that California wealthiest residents will have to pay over 50% of their income to state, local, and the federal government?
I don't care. They can afford it.
But some California voters might not want to vote for you next time because you are raising their taxes.
I will win California. They have some of the dumbest voters in America. They have high taxes and high unemployment, and they still will vote for any member of the Democratic Party. They don't care about high taxes.
Why did your wife give up her Illinois law license?
I don't have to answer that.
Your wife went to law school and then gives up her law license?
So?
Was the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission investigating your wife?
I'd rather not say.
Isn't true that once she drops her law license, the Illinois Attorney Registration and Disciplinary Commission can't investigate her?
I'd rather not say.
Now I want to ask you a few questions.
Go ahead.
Did political fixer Tony Rezko go to your house closing to pay a bribe?
I refuse to answer that question on grounds it may tend to incriminate me.
Did you have a gambling problem?
No.
Why were you almost broke when you were an Illinois state senator?
I don't have to answer that.
Did you ever bet with Alexei Jayan alias the mob bookmaker friend Michael Jaws Jayarengo?
I don't have to answer that.
When did you learn that Rod Blagojevich was corrupt?
I don't have to answer that.
But you were an early supporter of Rod Blagojevich for governor of Illinois.
So, a lot of Cook County Democrats were.
Did Tony Rezko tell you to support Rod Blagojevich?
I don't have to answer that.
Will you release your Illinois State Senate records?
I don't have to show them.
Will you release your grades from Columbia University?
I don't have to do that.
But the liberal media says you are so smart. Can't I see how smart you are?
I'm smarter than George W. Bush and John Kerry.
How would I know that? Because you will not release your grades.
You should be able to tell how smart I am. If you read my book Dreams from My Father, you would know I hang out with smart people.
On page 122 of your book Dreams from My Father, you talk about going to socialist scholars conferences.
Yeah, so what?
How many socialist conferences did you go to?
I don't have to answer that.
Do you remember?
I don't have to answer that.
Did you ever smoke crack?
I admitted I did cocaine. So what?
Is that why you really can't remember how many socialist conferences you went to?
I don't have to answer that.
Are you in good physical condition?
Yes, of course I am. I play basketball.
Why will you not release your medical records?
I don't have to.
John McCain did?
John McCain lost the support of the liberal media.
So, the liberal media isn't demanding to look at your medical records?
They voted for me. They like me. So, I can do what I want whether you like it or not.
Have you ever been to drug rehab?
I don't have to answer that.
Are you smarter than Sarah Palin?
Of course I am. Sarah Palin doesn't know the finer aspects of Marxist scholarship. I have read Frank Fanon.
Did you go to Reverend Wright's church often?
Yes, I admitted after the 2008 election I showed up every Sunday.
Did your children ever hear Reverend Wright spout racist rhetoric against whites?
I don't have to answer that.
Did you call Reverend Wright to tell him that he should lay off the racist stuff when you and your children showed up to his church?
This is a silly question.
Do you think it is appropriate for parents to take their children to a racist church?
I don't have to answer that.
Did you get into Harvard Law School because of affirmative action?
I don't have to answer that. I am smart. I have read Marxist Frantz Fanon.
Is that why you haven't released your Columbia and Harvard grades, because you are an affirmative action student?
I don't have to answer that. No one at the New York Times would dare ask me these questions. They know I am smart because I've read books on Marxism.
Have you read Hayek's Road to Serfdom?
That would never be assigned at Columbia University. Columbia isn't big on assigning books written by free market economists.
Thank you, President Obama.
You should read Frantz Fanon.
I don't like Marxists. They want a lower standard of living for the masses.